But I got stricken with a mental illness when I was about 17 that was always an underlying issue that I didn't know about until I was 26 or 27, called obsessive compulsive disorder and borderline schizophrenic. So
whoa, yeah, we gonna have to get into that part.
yeah, man, no problem.
What can you explain those two?
The first one I definitely want to know.
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
Right,
it comes in a magnitude of different. It hits you all kinds of different.
How did it come for you?
It came from me. I count lines and numbers. Now I beat it. Okay,
I understand.
This was one of the reasons for the addiction. Normally, when people have serious addiction problems, there's some type of mental illness behind it, right? So in any case, I started counting words and numbers, and I had a rough point in life that sent me into a crisis, and then the mental illness flared up to the point where now I recognized something was wrong. Before that, I thought, you think life's normal. You're repeating words and numbers, and you're like, okay, I guess this is life, right? Mm-hmm. But then when it starts to get serious and you become a man, and your brain starts to develop and it starts to get worse, then you start seeing, well, there's a problem, right? Mm-hmm. So I would count colors, numbers, cracks, letters. I would repeat things in my head over and over and over and over and over. But it was ridiculous, right? I knew it was not real. Mm-hmm. But that's the snowball effect with obsessive compulsive disorder, because the things that you obsess on really are not realistic. So you're wondering why your brain's doing it, right? And then a lot of people suffer from this disease in silence, and there's a lot of help out there to do it. Obsessive compulsive disorder.
Right.
So that will move around. Schizophrenia, you kind of see things that aren't there. And with me, it only comes in real situations of high anxiety or high stress. Like I'll say, is somebody sitting in that chair? And somebody say, no, there's nobody in the chair. So I'll be like, okay. It could be a vision.
You'll see somebody sitting in it?
Yeah, I'll see things. They'll float around. It hasn't happened in a long time. You'll hallucinate, on the high pressure or
right.
extreme anxiety. Mm-hmm. So, and that was the reason that I started drinking. And that's where the addiction comes in.
Because you drink to drive the visions away?
Correct. You stop counting, and the mental illness pretty much stops from alcohol. But then the rebound effect the next day makes it worse because you're hungover. And you have all the chemicals in your brain being affected by the overabundance of alcohol. Right. So then, over time, you keep drinking to self-medicate and escape reality, and then now you're training your chemicals in your brain. Now, you're an alcoholic. So from mental illness, self-medication to alcoholism, that's what happens to a lot of people. A lot of people see these people in the streets and they're like, oh, they're just losers, they're bums, whatever. No. You don't really know what they're going through. And you really don't know what they're going through until you experience it yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So my empathy for those people, like they'll say into Jamaica, I never give nobody money, I give the homeless the money, the people in the streets, because you see them talking to themselves. And I know exactly what they're doing. And so the compassion has to be held for these people. And there's nowhere, there's not enough people reaching out to people to help them. Mm-hmm. So that being said, back to the addiction part of it. So then at the end of the addictions, you start drinking a lot because your tolerance goes up, and now your brain knows what point it wants to be to forget. So it starts with, a 6-pack a day, and then end, 10 years later, you're drinking a handle of rum a day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what do? You go to cocaine because you're sloppy drunk. So now you're up for 6 days. Now you're really hallucinating, right? So you're spending half your time drunk and the other half the time recovering. So you got no life. You're like a walking dead. You're like a zombie. Uh-huh. You know what I'm saying? Just get nowhere.
How do you get out of a situation like that?
Bro, it took a long time.
Let him finish the whole experience. He's gonna get
so
out
that's
of
what happened. And it wound up putting me into a downward spiral where I was in and out of hospitals and mental institutions and never really jail a couple times, but just, not no serious prison time or anything like that. I was homeless for like 6 or 7 years. And
7 years?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. But it wasn't, sometimes it was in the streets, sometimes it was in, camps, sometimes it was in shelters, sometimes I was able to scrape up enough money. I bought a van one time. I lived in my van for 2 years on the side of the road. So there was a lot of things that mental illness. So I guess, I don't know, there was something in me that just said, keep pushing forward. And the only reason I didn't, now we're going to get deep. The only reason I didn't commit suicide because I didn't want my mother to live with it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that got me through for a long time, just to keep living, because my mother had been through so much, and I just couldn't live with myself. Well,
When you meet this so much, you like bad relationships and stuff, or like she had addiction?
no, she was molested when she was young. She's from a farm in St. Louis.
Oh,
She,
my God.
you know, dad wasn't so nice. She had to work, 60 hours a week. We were poor, we were paycheck to paycheck. She lost her sister. She lost her mother, Now she's going to lose a son.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm saying? I said, I'll suffer for the rest of my life for my mom. So that's why I stayed, and so it kept making me strive. There's got to be something that can get me better. Someone somewhere has got to know what this is, because growing up, they didn't know what really mental illness was until we get into the 2000s, right? 2010 is when the awareness really started.
Right.
So if you grew up in the 90s and 2000, they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Nobody knew what it was. They were like, what are you talking about? You're repeating words and numbers and counting. If you would have a conversation with me right now, I would have told you repeated J and K and W 437 times. I would recount your words and count back what you said and count the numbers.
That's
and recount them again,
wow,
and recount them
that's
again, and recount them again, and
wow,
recount them
that's
again, and recount them again. All day long,
Wow,
nonstop, from the
wow.
time I woke up to the time I went to sleep. So I had to drink myself to sleep. Because I'd stare at the wall, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Right.
It
Wow.
was my brain just automatically did it. So I was saying to myself, there has to be somebody, somewhere, someday in this world that knows what the frig is going on. And then one day I snapped out of it for 6 months. It was the weirdest shit. All of a sudden it went, bleep, shut off. I was like, oh shit, it's gone. Right? I'm not repeating. So now I started to be happier, and then it snapped back in, which sent me into a deeper spiral. But for that 6-month break that I had, I knew it was possible. I said, the brain shut it off. I said, it's got to be something with the brain. I met a doctor that fixed me in 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, with a brain exercise, and started explaining to me. Well, it took 2 hours, but the brain exercise took 20 minutes, and explained to me what OCD was, and the subconscious, and what it does, and the electrical impulses, and all this stuff.
No, break that down. Please. If
Yeah,
you
man,
know
no,
that,
anybody
the
means-
electrical impulse is what?
Yeah, the dopamine.
I'm
and-
a fool.
yeah. The circuits, how they're wired, and people with mental illness, and so he sat down. It was actually Dr. Hugo Franco. He's almost retired now, but he saved my life. And then it went from there. So I started building myself back up, kind of accepted where I was in life, and then but I was still stuck with addiction now.
Yeah.
We fixed the mental illness, but now I'm stuck with addiction, right? So addiction goes on another 7 years. So I'm telling you, I'm partying a lot. I'm doing a lot of coke. Long story short, 28 months ago, we put it to an end. And that's where
I gotta clap you for
Yeah,
that, bro.
for real,
That's crazy, bro.
crazy,
I've
right?
never heard nobody say nothing like that.
Yeah, man,
That's
it's the
ill,
truth.
bro.
It's the God honest truth behind
That's
the God.
ill. I
That's all
believe
God,
you.
bro.
I believe you. I believe you.
There's no exaggeration in that. There's no bullshit. It was a lot of. I suffered for 23 years with that. Yeah,
Can I-
23 years.
Can I ask you what
Yeah.
was the exercise? Maybe
I was
somebody
about
else.
to
Oh,
say
it's called flooding.
Flooding?
Yeah, flooding. So a lot of people, when it's an anxiety disorder. So, say all of a sudden my OCD snaps in and I'm afraid of gold. So now I start counting everything in gold. I can tell you there's gold on that pillow. There's
Right.
gold behind every one of
Right,
you
right,
guys.
right,
There's
right.
gold on that right there. There's that yellow kind of represents gold. There's a gold sticker there. There's a gold thing on the bike. There's a gold thing up there. I start seeing gold there, gold here, gold there, because my brain subconsciously thinks gold is going to kill me.
Right.
Oh, shit.
So if you're walking through a bad neighborhood and you see the crew there, their block, you're aware of it, right? You're aware who's the bad man and who's not, because they're going to cause you injury or death. But that's a real fear.
Yeah.
Gold is not.
Right.
How's that gold picture going to kill me? So that's what bothers you. So in any case, so what you have to do is the more you run from it, the worse it gets. So you have to go to it. So now what I did was my colors were red, green, and black. So I would dress in all red, or I would dress in all green. I would paint my walls green. I would have a tape going green, green, green. So you pound it into your brain, so
Right.
your brain no longer is scared of gold. So you'd be gold, gold. I would dress in gold. I put gold teeth in. I put gold hats on. I drape myself in gold. Paint everything gold. Drive a gold car. I had to write gold like 10,000 times. Gold, 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 gold. So this way your brain registers and it snaps out that gold is not going to hurt you no more.
Right.
Oh,
Right? Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you pound it into your brain. You don't run from it. You run to it. Mm-hmm. And that's the exercise. So you just constantly write things down. And then what you have to do is the real technique better than any medicine, and I've helped over 300 people snap out of it. It's called the flooding technique is another thing. You write down every crazy thought that you got. I'm a loser. I'm a fuck up. This is going to, I don't know. The gold's going to kill me. This motherfucker's going to kill me. I'm never going to get over it. Why is it happening to me? Where's the God? All this kind of crazy shit. Keeps repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating all day long. It's like synapses firing on you every second. You write it down, write it down, write it down. You get a book and you record what you said on a recorder, and then you play that recorder for 2 days straight. All day, every day. When you sleep, you go to sleep, you wake up, you hit it, you play it, and you sleep, you listen to it, you plug in for 48 hours, and your brain snaps out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the best technique in the world. When I met
That's
Dr.
called flooding?
Flooding.
like flooding your mind.
Flooding with the
Okay.
enemy. Flooding
Yeah.
it, flooding it. Yo, this is Scotchy Boss, you heard? I'm on the Thanks for Asking podcast. Like, subscribe, comment. These guys are cool. I'm going to be here again. Like I said, it's the Thanks for Asking podcast. Scotchy Boss, over and out. Boom, fire shots, you heard?